Yeah, Hotep. Sorry, the film ran out earlier, so I'm just continuing with part two of the personality behind Awake Israel and autoimmune diseases in relation to consciousness. So, as I was saying, um, we should be looking inside. We should be looking inside ourselves. We shouldn't be. That's what I found in my research, that we should be looking. We shouldn't be looking outside ourselves. And as I went through this episode of bereavement and adjusting to losing a son, a really beautiful, wonderful son. I just didn't know how to cope. I mean, at first, I went to church and they said, oh, he's in heaven looking down and all this. And because, he'd passed at a young age, that, he was one of the angels and all this stuff. But you know what? It didn't wash with me. And the more they said stuff like that to me, the more I shunned them, and I felt shunned. And it just didn't satisfy my mind. So one day, I was looking at a lecture here on YouTube, and by Dr. Yaffe, and that's when my eyes started to open. I just want to say thank you, Dr. Bay, if you're watching this anytime. Just thank you. I definitely benefited, and it's just led me on the path to understanding who I am. So I mentioned earlier about this book, The Hidden Wisdom in the Bible. And there's a nice chapter on the symbolic language in the Bible. And that's when I started, don't put on the light, that's when I started to really understand that the Bible, there's many, it's many layered. And, at church they tell you, I can see a shadow all over my film. Yeah, when I was growing up, they tell you, to just take it literally, take it as you see it, take it as it is, and but I found that it's multi-layered, and in the multiple layers, there's frequencies and vibrations coming even off the Bible. It's a code, and for me, it's a powerful book to keep you, if you don't understand what you're reading, really keep you in a certain consciousness, that you just always just depending on somebody else. Like at Christmas you depend on Santa Claus to bring you a present, or you depend, like the tooth fairy to give you like $5 or £5 when you've lost a tooth when you were a child. Those kind of so when I started to understand that the language in the Bible is or can be symbolic, and it's not just literal, it really opened my eyes. I mean, to understand the months of the year, to understand my body, to understand it's just very eye-opening. And as I was saying, I wanted to talk about the autoimmune diseases, because I read, it's called, what's that book called, by the conspiracies of the 20th century. But it talks about that there's a stealth war that's going on against each and every one of us here. And according to our level of consciousness, there's frequencies we're giving off when we speak, when we hear things, according to the music around you, even the electrical things we've got around us in our home, according to how much sleep we gain every day, so to autoimmune illnesses is when your own body starts to attack your own body. And so the enemy it's like within you. It's yourself. Yourself is attacking yourself. And many times we run to the doctor, and like I did, and they'll give you a tablet, this and that, and they'll say, well, this is just it's just it's not a cure, but you won't die, and it'll just keep you alive like a zombie, just as long as you keep taking these tablets. And once I started to get into this knowledge of self, and to understand the consciousness that's really going on Earth and amongst us, I realized that, you know, I wanted to like heal thyself. I wanted to you know what I could do about my situation, because all is energy. Everything around us is energy. Our thoughts are energy. We're energy. Everything is energy. And when I started to grasp that concept that, you know, energy cannot be destroyed. Energy cannot be destroyed, but it can only be changed, you know. And that's when I started to think, well, if I could live, you know, a healthier lifestyle, stop putting certain things in my body, yeah, and purify myself, then even the Bible says it, you know, you purify yourself even as He, or the Christ consciousness, is pure, you know. And I started looking at, you know, like there's painkillers out there, and you go out to the chemist or the pharmacist and you buy the painkiller, but really, it's just the medicine that you get from the willow tree. So things like that, and that certain things can heal you. That certain, if you eat holistically and approach the body in a holistic way, you know, not as just one area or your heart, your chest, but the whole of you, you know. You know, and you start eating healthily, then yeah, you can be healed. So this is the path I'm on, and I just wanted to mention, you know, the morphogenetic grid that's here, that we're all a part of. That, you know, I forgot how somebody explained it before, but I read this book, and it's called The Dream is About the Dreamers. And it says that, like, everyone's dreams is about everyone else, and everyone is a part of everybody else's dreams. Do you know? And I found that very interesting. So I was reading the Pyramids of Montauk, and it's got Montauk and the grid, but it's got a lovely chapter called the Morphogenetic Grid, and it tells about says that mankind can generate consciousness in such a manner as to manipulate matter, energy, space, and time. Okay, so we as a whole group can generate consciousness that can manipulate matter, energy, space, and time. And I found that very interesting, because a very interesting concept. And why I mentioned my son is that those concepts helped me to come to grips with the fact that he was no longer physically with me, although I knew he was still with me and a part of me, and he would be able to come back through, you know. And that cheered me up loads, because, you know, and just to understand why these things happen. And so I wanted to say that there's 7 really states of consciousness, and, you know, everyone thinks they're conscious. Obviously, everyone's alive and they can think. So everyone thinks they're yeah, I'm conscious. But I didn't realize there were so many different layers of consciousness. And I remember hearing about the ascended masters and, you know, different concepts like that. And I thought, yeah, that's something I want to look into. That's something I want to understand for myself, you know. And so I found that, you know, there's 7 states of consciousness. There's people on the earth that's there's dreamless sleep, there's dreaming sleep, there's walking sleep, there's awake when you're awake and enlightened, there's samadhi, there's illumination, which includes unity, and then there's cosmic consciousness. And you know, those metaphysical concepts, just, you know, it's just really enjoyable to just be washed in those concepts, and, you know, to try and understand, you know, life in general, why we're here, why are we here, who am I? You know, people say, what do you do, or who are you, or what? Well, you know, we're so many people, aren't we? We're so many different there's so many different roles for us, even in this third dimensional space time concept. Like me, I'm a mom.